Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Bas Malik and I'm your instructor for this mobile app development course. And if you remember in the last lecture, in the last video, which is a practice video to implement a sample or the mock exam. And so we started with that. We understand what is a scenario. Then we talk about how we can set up our environment, running some commands, installing some um, packages which are required. Then we also use open the PHP admin, and then we actually created the practice database, and then we imported the my employees.sql, which actually create a database table inside our practice database and also add some records inside it. Then we also implemented the web server in the app.js file, and then we have implemented different type of the HTTP request, get request, again post request, again get request, and then we have a delete request. Front-end programming, again, we finished that one, and then we look at how we can implement the index.html. We added the navigation bar. Then we also add a table, and then the body was empty because we need to read the data from the server. So then we see how we can send an HTTP request to the server. Server sends back a response, and then we fill this table accordingly. So we see that thing. Then we also see that how we can create edit our add employee for .html file. In again, we put the navigation bar. Then we also put the form inside where the user can give the input information, and then we implement that whole scenario that you can see here. We have implemented this part, which is the index.html. We already see that. Then we also finish our work on the add employee. But if I just try to open, let me first run that command. Before we are running, what we need to do, we need to make sure that our MySQL server is running before we can start our web server. So we need to make sure, yes, it is running right now. We can see that. And then we say npm run dev, and that is actually going into this package.json file, and then under the script it is going to find out the dev script or dev command, and then actually it will run this specific command for us in the node environment. Okay, so now our server is running. Then we can test that thing using the we have this one, and then we can test that thing. We say localhost colon 3000. So now you can see that we this server data is coming from the server. We also inserted some new record inside it, so you can see those records. By default, in the beginning there are only 10 records, but after that we have added 4 records when we were working on that ad. But now if we look at the search one, we have not finished our yet. Delete page, we have not finished our work yet. So now let's start with the search employee, and then how we can implement that thing here. Okay, so for the search employee, what we need to do here, we need to open that. Let me close that index and the uh, add employee. We need to open the search employee. And if you look at that, we don't have anything here yet. So what I need to do, I just need to copy that navigation bar that we have created in the index file. Okay, where is that? It's right at the beginning. So we will copy that navigation bar and then put it inside the this place here. And then what we need to do here, we have the add employee, we have search employee, and then if we go back to our search employee now, I refresh, no, nothing is happening here. We have implemented this search. Okay. Uh, we are on this yeah, I mean we can see our, I mean if we go to the delete, there is no navigation bar, but when we come to that search, we also have that one. The next thing that what we need to do is that we need to implement, we need to put some informations here. So first of all, let us, what we can say that we want to add an input field id, employee id with the label, so that we can actually uh, what you can say that we can actually uh, the user can give the input into that one, and then we can. So what you can say that let me quickly add that. So first of all, I say I want to add a form so that whenever we want to do some, we want to reset the information, we can do that. So we say it is an employee ID form, okay, and then inside we need to put an input a label, and then we say for, and then it will be for the ID value, and then we also give the what you can say that we can say that employee ID. And then after that one, what we need to do, we need to give the input value, and that input value, uh, what you can say that we need to say type is equal to number because it is a number value that we want to add here, and then the ID is actually ID. I need to remove that one, and then we say name is also ID, and then we can the BR, okay, then put again another BR, and then after that what we need what you can say that we need a button that we want to insert here, okay, and then in that button, so button is actually coming down here, so we can put that button here so that we can actually search it. So let me put that button for you, and then we can see that. Okay, so we have of course what we need to do, we need to write that function that we are executing. So on the click event of that specific button. Okay, so let's go back to see how our page look like. So now you can see that we have the ID value, then we can click on the search button, and then it will actually show me the what you can say that the other thing is that we need to here to look at that we have the employee display, so employee info display. So this is the div in which we are going to show the informations about that about the data that we are reading from the server about that specific employee whose ID the user has provided, and then we need to show those information inside that div. Right now this div is empty, but definitely we want to fill it with our code. Okay, so first of all what we need to do, we want to uh, create a function, again function, and then we say it is a search employee function. And then if you look at that on the click event, we are actually calling this function. So make sure that we are writing the same spelling here and the spelling of this one. And then what we need to do, first of all, we need to read the informations out of that employee ID. So we say let ID is equal to what you can say that document dot get element by ID. And if you look at that, the ID value that we have assigned is the ID. Okay, so we say ID, and then we say dot value. Okay, so now it will go into that input field whose ID is ID, and it will read the information which has been provided by that, and then we can check if that ID is given. If not ID, okay, then what we need to do, we need to show an alert message to the user, please enter ID value to search an employee. Okay, and then after that we just simply call the return because we don't want to proceed forward with this function because the ID value is not given, so we cannot send a fetch request to the server. So we need to make sure that we are checking this thing before we are sending the request. Otherwise we are sending a request to the server with the ID value undefined, and then definitely we will not be able to get the answers out of it. So uh, then we want to send the fetch request. Again, there are two different ways. Either we can use that the same method that we have used here. We make that function asynchronous, and then we say await. And then if you look in the cheat sheet, we also have this method. So we say fetch method, and then this fetch method, when you say dot, then actually we are saying that when this fetch method return me back the results, give those results here. That is I mean response, and that response we are trying to get out of the body, the results from the body, and then pass on those information. So we are making a chain. So sometimes this is a bit confusing. So we can also do something like this here, you know, like this one, and then we save it. So rather than I say URL, I will say that I need to go back to my where is my app.js? So we have the app.js. Let me close it down, this one. Okay, I want to close that uh, editor, yes, and then we have the app.js here. And in the app.js, actually, we want to send a request to this get request where we are sending the ID value, and it only read one data out of it, one record out of that. So we want to slash data slash employee. So we are going to replace that, write your URL with slash data slash employee. Okay, and then of course what we need to do, enp LOYE. We need to make sure that we're writing this one, and then here the ID value will comes in. Okay, the ID value which is coming, which we have read from the input field, which is coming here. And then of course we don't need to provide anything inside the sec as a second argument, because by default it is sending a get request. So we don't need to worry about. Let me take this to response, and then we can say uh, response.json, and then we have the this one is the actually the results, and then we can say that what results are coming in back, and then accordingly we can handle. And if there is an error, then I want to show that error on the console. Okay, so that is something which is a structure here. So this is a one structure. So what we are saying here, we are executing the fetch method. Whatever being returned by the fetch method, it is given as given as to this method which we are writing inside. Then from the response http response that we have received back from the fetch method, we are accessing its body and finding out, or getting out or extracting the actual results which has been sent by the server back in that HTTP response, and then we are passing. So we execute this, then we execute this method which we have written down here, and then we are passing that results to this method, which is we are going to write here, and then here we are going to what you can say that process the results. And if we go back again to our file here, either we are always get a something like this. Either is a success true or false. And if the success is equal to false, then we are getting a message. And if the success is true, then we are getting a data. Okay, and that data is actually coming only one record. And here again, here if it is a six failure, then it is getting me back a message. So we can check here that if we have the results dot success, then it means that we have the data inside our results that we want to show inside our that div. Okay, so what I want to do here, so if we have, we can say that I am just trying to show that employee details has been obtained. I mean, we got those values. So maybe we don't want to show that alert message. We want to let HTML string is equal to nothing right now. Remember that we have this ID, this div where we want to display our information for the employee that we are searching. If we have successfully searched that employee, we are going to show those informations here. So again, we will need to fill that information. So we can say that we say an HTML string, and then we say plus equal to, and then we are putting that. Uh, this sign, and then here what we are doing, we are creating a div value, and that div is a class, and then we can say it is card div class, that is a card, and then we also say text dash success, and then we are closing that div. Of course, we need to make sure that we are closing that div slash div. Okay, so we if we save it, yeah. So once we have closed it, then we are need to put the header in that one. So I say div, again another div, and I say class is equal to card dash header, and inside that car dash header, then again we I need to uh, what you can say that I need to close that div. Okay, the second one, we close it down, and then we are putting the h2 element here, and then we can say employee details, and then of course we need to close that h2 element. Okay, and then the next thing is, I mean, we need to come out of that the header div, and now we are inside that the other div. You can say that we want to put the again another div, and let's say class is equal to uh, card dash body, and then we need to close that slash div. Okay, and inside that div we want to put that information. So let me quickly what you can say that. We say that we have the h2 element, and then we just try to close h2 element, and then we have the h2 element for the id value, then the name value, then the salary value, and then for the joining here. So we can just simply say that id equal to, and then here we want to put the data. So we say results dot data, and in from the data we have the id value. Okay, and then we are going to copy this thing from here, and then we say name, and then name is equal to, it will be name, and then we are saying that we have a salary, and then we are putting this one, and then we say salary, and then we have the joining year, and then we are putting this one, and then we say uh, joining underscore year. So that is what is going to come back from here if the data has been given, and then we are accordingly showing that thing. And once we have created that HTML string, actually we are writing only one thing, so we don't need to do that. We can just simply say that HTML string is equal to that. And once we have done that, then we what we can do, we can say we document dot get element by id, and the id is actually emp display. So we can need to make sure that the id emp display, we are going to get one, and then we say dot inner html is equal to html string. So in this way we are going to show that specific string inside that div. And then if that is not the case, what you can say that, I mean and then okay, if that is not the case, we are here, then we say else. In the else part, remember that in the else part, we are always getting, whenever there is a failure, we are getting a message. So we want to display a message here. So the other thing that I want to do here, and if there is no, for example, we already have searched something, and then data is being displayed on the page, and we are user is trying to search another id value, then we in that case, if it is a failure, then what we want to do, we want to clear that div, it means which showing the previous search results. So we want to clear that one first, and then we say alert. We want to alert the user that we have some results dot message. Okay, so whatever that message is coming from the server, we are alerting it to the user that we don't have, or there is some error. So we are going to send that, show that thing. So I think that we have implemented our uh, method here. There is no other way. Okay, So I will just give you this flavor. So we have fetch, and then this is another way to implement the same thing. Or I can also make it a more modular. It is more simpler in the if we make it a async function. We then I will show you. First, let us check this thing if it is working perfectly fine. So I will just try to give the value 15, which does not exist in our record. When I do that, I think that I need to refresh my page, and then I give a value 15. I search it, nothing is happening. So let's see what is going on in the background. So we are having, okay, data slash employee slash 15 respond with a status of 404 not found. Okay, so this is what it is giving me in that status 404 not found. It is telling me, but the point is that what is happening inside. So when we are 404, yes, it is telling me that we could not find, and then it is sending me back the response. I can always check that what is being sent by the server here, remember that we have our practice. Where is the practice? So we say practice get. So let me uh, here one, and I will just send the 15. And when I do that, okay, what is happening? API code. Okay, we are practice one, and then we say get one, and then we say in 15, and then we send it back. It is sending me that not found, but we are getting that response, no employee found in the database. But the point is that we are getting back that response, but why are we are not putting that one? So let me check. We have employee and data slash employee is not uh, coming back. Okay, but when we are doing this thing, so we are in the search employee. So we say when that request comes back, we are opening the response, we are getting back the results, and then in case of failure, we are. So let me put a console that check that we are coming into that specific part. So we are handling failure. Okay, so let me put that thing over there. Let me go to this one again, search, put that 15, and then search it. So we are getting that one, but once we say not found, it is not allowing me. It does not come to that one. Okay, so let me check if I am coming into this one. If I'm coming into this one, so we are uh, processing the results. So that is also another thing. So let's finish. So we say 15, send that one. We did not get anything in the console. So actually, when we are putting that 404 not found, then it actually, when we click on that on number 553, then we search employees.html77. So when we come down here, it actually from that specific point onward, we are not, it does not allow us to go to the next part. Okay, so that is another, the issue with this kind of the information. So let me remove that status. Okay, because if we don't remove that status, server has been restarted. When we send that one, okay, server has restarted. Yes, and then we can just refresh, and then we say 15, and then we can send back, we get back 404. Okay, where we are making the changes, it's a get request data slash employees. So where we are sending that request, so we are sending that request on the data. Okay, we are sending that data slash employees, not employees. So we are sending that thing on a wrong IP. So let me control Z from this one. So let me see if I can get my responses back. I say this one. So now you can see that we are handling the failure. It's actually coming in over there. Actually, it was showing me that we could not find that specific request. Okay, so that was the one of the problem with the, so we need to make sure whenever we are writing that URL here, we need to make sure that it is exactly matched with our data, our backend server URL. If it is not matching, then it will create some problems here. So the first thing is that we have tested that if it is not read, in case of failure, in case of success, what it will do, it will show me that information, and now I can see that again. If I just try to show something 18, so that is the reason that I have removed that thing, because we are unable to read the data. So we don't want to keep the previous search data there, so we want to clear that thing, and that is the reason that I have written down this line. So let me remove these console printing lines here. We are here, yes, I don't want to this one as well. So this is another, what you can say that this is the, let me quickly move it down so that we can see the code actually. So either we write something like this fetch and this and that. So, or we can write, if we can make this function async, and once we have made that a function async, we can say we are getting the response is equal to fetch, and then we are going to give the slash data slash employees slash, and then we are saying that plus id value. So what, and then the other thing is that before that one we need to write the await function. So what will we, this line will do, it await, it wait for that fetch method to finish its work and send back the responses. Once it has done, then it will come back here. We say results is equal to response dot json, and then it is going to read the body of that HTTP response. And here we need to again write the await function. And then after that, we can write this specific if conditions here. That is here, So this one. So either you, I will just save it once you have saved it, so you can see that we have this one. So either you do that, one line, then the next line, or then we are processing the results, or you can say that it is going to be finish this job, then execute this function, then execute this function, and in that function we are handling this method. So whatever, what you can say that whatever method works for you, whatever you prefer, you can use. You can use either this one or use this one. I will just try to what you can say that uh, do that. Uh, I mean, so that we can test that thing if this function, this way of the handling the thing is also working perfectly the same way. So let me go back and then reopen my tab. So I say 15. When I do that, you can see that it is still working for us, and we have saved our research. So it is a new data that is being displayed here. So you can see that we can also say 8, and then we do that. And if we also say minus 115, minus 15, so again you say that we could not find the data. And then the other thing is, if you look at that, when I finish my search, it does not clear the data. So what I can do here, because if you remember, we have put that specific id input value inside a form, so I can come down here and then clear that form when we have successfully searched that thing. So when we have this one, uh, in case of the failure, we don't want to clear, but in case of a success, we want to clear that thing. Again, this is something which we need to decide in which case we want to clear. But anyway, so I say when we have successfully shown the data, we will clear the things. We get element by ID, and then this one is actually, I will just try to copy that ID value for the form employee form ID, so that make sure that we are writing the correct spellings. And here form, and then we say that reset, and then we can, once we reset it, in case of the successful one, so for example, I do that, I will just try to refresh, but first and then 8, and then I press A. So you can see that it's clear that form for me, so that I can give the new value. And in case of the new value, when we are not successfully reading the data, it is does not clear that specific form. So if we know that the ID value 16, actually we could do if we don't have the data for that reply. So, okay, so we have implemented the index. We also have implemented the add. Then we also have implemented the other thing that we I would like to change inside the inside that navigation bar, that we want to know that which specific link is actually active. So what we can do here, because we are in the search, so then I can say here it's this one is. I think that we need to say this one is active. And then if I refresh my page now, you can see that it is also showing me that this one is active. Though similarly, what do I need to do for the add employee? Again, go into that navigation bar, and then here in the class for that add employee, I say active. When I do that, and now if I click on that, this one is active. So I know that actually we are on the add employee page. Then we know that it is on the search employee page. So now let me uh, close it, and then we already have. So let me copy that navigation bar again, because we also need to put that into the delete bar page as well. So we are copying that one from here, and then let me, because we have finished our work on the search, we are going to open the head delete employee. So delete employee, I will put that one here, and rather than making the active here, I want to make the this one active. Okay, so in this way, if I click on that, now I have uh, the navigation bar on all of these two. I will just keep that open, that in case we want to do some debugging problem, if we face some errors. Okay, so we are in the delete now. The first thing that we want to do here is the now we need to again, just like the search employee, we want to create a form here. And I think that I can easily, what you can say, that I can from the search employee, I can just copy paste that specific form. Okay, so I can just put that form here inside the delete one. Okay, so here's the input field. So I will just put that one here. And then rather than we say employee ID, and then we are going to add a button. So delete employee. So we can say that let me put that button here. Uh, and then we say delete an employee. So again, we say button success, then we need to write that method delete employee, which we are executing on the on click event of this button. And then we will delete that delete employee. And I mean, I think not an employee, we can say delete employee. And of course, we need to write that specific function here. Okay, so we say function, and then we are going to add that function here. We can also make that function async, and then if we, so rather than using that then part, we are going to use the again the same thing that we what we need here. We have that ID value, we want to read the informations out of it, and if we look at here in the search part, the same thing what we need to do. First of all, get that ID value from that specific input field and check if the ID value is given. If the ID value is not given, then we are telling that please enter the ID to uh, delete an employee rather than search an employee. And then what we want to do here, then we need to so do we want to first show, I mean, if you look at that right now, we will uh, we will check the ID, and if that ID exists over there, then we can also ask the user, do you really want that ID, that student record? Because right now we are not showing that record on the lead page. Okay, what we can do, let me quickly grab that display one ID div. Okay, and then I am putting that one here. Okay, so right after that one, I put that div here, And then what I want to do, I want to display that record. So what we can do, we can write an async function. Actually, yeah, async function. Then we can say that the name is the show employee, and then the ID value is coming as a parameter. And then we are actually doing the same thing here. So what we can do here, we can say that we are going to show that div, and then we are putting that thing here. Okay, so this is again async function which is taking the ID value, then we are sending and get request to the server, which is bringing back the data. Then we are having the response, and then if it is a success, we are going to reset that function, that employee ID form. I think it's the same that we have used here, yes. And then we are going to show that specific data. And then once we show the data, then what we can do there, I mean, I would say that I want to put that um, okay, I mean, I'm actually I'm changing that specific behavior here, but once it is shown there, once it has shown that specific information inside that there, then I come down here and I say uh, show employee, and then we say ID, and then we say await. Okay, and then show employee. So once I do that, then once it has finished job, it has finished the execution and so on, then I say I want to confirm delete, and that I say confirm, and then I show that a message to the user, um, are you really want to delete the record? Once done, maybe I can put a slash, the slash n here, and then once done cannot be undone. Okay, and then again slash n, press OK to delete the record, or press cancel. Okay, so in this way, let me I say already I am putting here, so we are getting this one. So once confirmed, so if I say, if the user has confirmed delete, then I want to perform that specific delete action. And then of course, because it is an asynchronous function, we need to send a request to the server, and inside the server we have a delete request, and again it is using that specific. I will just try to copy this one to avoid any typing errors. So constant, and then I say response is equal to await, and then we say fetch method, then we are putting this one, and then we are putting the ID value which we have read from our class, our this one, and then I need to specify the method, and that method is actually delete. So we can send a delete request, and if I just quickly show you the cheat sheet here, so you can see that we method delete, so we don't need to have specify the header, so we can send that delete method here. So once we get back the response, then again we are going to say results is equal to response dot JSON, and then of course in the beginning we also need to put a wait method, so we are waiting for that job to finish, and then we can check what we are getting back from here. Again, we are getting a success, either it is a true or false, and if it is true, then we say yes, we have successfully deleted. Otherwise we have a message also. So we say if we have results dot success, then we have successfully then we say alert message, and then we are sending a message, uh, employee is deleted successfully. And then if we want to, we want to move the uh, move the user from this page to the insert page, then we say window dot location dot href, and that will be equal to index dot html. So once we have done that, in case of the failure in the else part, what we want to do, we want to alert that one, but here the message is actually coming from the server, and then we can say that results dot message, and then we are not going to move it from this one to other one. In case of the cancel, of course, we are not going to do anything. Okay, so that is, so let's check that thing here. Refresh our page. Now we have the ID. So first of all, let me check that we are sending the ID equal to delete. So when I say do that, so we say no employee exists over there. And then are you sure you want to delete? Of course, we don't want to go there. The other thing is that what we can do here, because we are actually, once we finish that job here, you know, and then not this one here, this one, here, what it is going to show me, let me send back the response from here. So once we done here, then we can say that return result. I think that we can just write one line at the end. Right at the end, we can say whatever that results is coming in, results dot uh, success, and that is what we want to return from here. Okay, so once it has been returned, then we can check here. Uh, we can say constant. Then we can say that proceed is equal to this, and then we say if we say proceed, it is a success which is coming back, then we are going to uh, do that specific uh, part. Okay, delete part, otherwise we are not going to, we didn't read any data, then how we can proceed forward. So this is something which we need to understand that. So first we need to make sure that what we are doing, show the employee. If the employee has been successfully shown, then this proceed will be true, and if it is true, then we are going to proceed to delete the data, otherwise we are not going to do anything else. So that is what we have done here. So let me check. We are giving something which does not exist, so we will do that, and it does not do anything. Okay, but when I give the employee data 5, and now you can see that it is showing me that, okay, the point is that it is not showing me the things here, but okay, we want that it is await, and it's return back the response, and then it was, as soon as it is the true, it is trying to show me, but it comes up that right in front of that. We can put some set uh, timeout. Okay, and then set timeout, we want to say that wait for 3 seconds. For 3 seconds we need to put 3000, and then inside, what you can say that I put that one here. I'm trying to make that things more and more complicated, but you can also make it simple. So it is uh, asynchronous method. We are writing async function, and then we are need to remove that thing. And then let's see, because it with this method, this async function that we are writing inside, it is going to wait for some second. Maybe I can just simply don't write anything here. I can just say do nothing, but just wait for 3 seconds. Okay, when we wait for 3 seconds, hopefully it will solve the problem. But let's see. We have 5, and when I do that, it is directly going down there. It is not waiting for that specific. So we are doing that one. So again, we need to, I think that we need to put that part inside the this one, okay, here. And the other thing is we need to make that function asynchronous. Okay, so we have written down that. Okay, now it's making the another function. So okay, so once this is the case, so if I just try to refresh my page here, I put 5 here, then it show me, and then now, after 3 seconds, it is asking me, do you want to delete? When I click OK, it will delete it. So let me check. I want to delete that record. Wait for 3 seconds. And then it show me, yes, I want to delete it. Once you say it has been deleted successfully, it is taking me. And now you can see that the record number 12 has been deleted from the records. So this is the what you can say that the practice that you have seen here. We have implemented the index page, and then we also have implemented the backend server. We also created a database, and then in the database we also created the students employees table. And then we have implemented index.html. Then we have add employee.html, search employee.html, and then we also have delete employee.html. So we work all these things together and we have implemented everything. So that is all for this practice session. I hope that you have enjoyed. Please subscribe the channel so that you can get the new videos for this channel. Thank you very much.